Alrighty, so I just got numbers supposedly 13 through 15 in the mail. I actually had ordered these quite a while ago and was waiting patiently. The guy, I guess, turned out he was on vacation, so he sent me a message. Was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was on vacation, man." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was wondering what was going on. It's been like a month, so yeah, these guys finally showed up. This page has been coming together pretty well. I just got all these other ones in the mail, and so they're in here already. But yeah, I wanted to go through these guys. So numbers 13 through 15, you can see the design there. This yellow one is quite a faded image, it seems, and I think that's in part because of the color of the ink. It's just kind of hard to see in general. And then here's the 5-cent, or sorry, 3-cent. Oops, I get them mixed up, guys. Okay, the 5 is the high denom, so the 3 is in the middle here. So yeah, this is the Imperial Dragon release that we're after with A2 design. There are 2 releases, looks like, for these denoms, and so we've got an 1885 and an 1888 release. Looks like they should both actually have watermark 103, because that's how these listings work. When they show a new design or kind of start a new design in the catalog listing here, they'll give you the information, and that information is going to trickle downwards unless stated otherwise. So the fact that they announced here that this is watermark 103 for this design, that also means that this one will be watermark 103. So they don't write it again. I just wanted to state that, just in case people get confused out there. Sometimes I still get confused with these catalog listings, but that's the way it works. And so if anything changes, then they will inform you of such. Well, you can see here that the perfs are different. That's what's changed. So they informed you of such. That in 1888 they re-released these stamps with this design, but with a different perf. However, it will still have the same watermark. That didn't change, and they didn't bother to write that. You're just supposed to understand how these listings are made, and so you would know. If it was unwatermarked, it would say that, because that would be a difference, right? Or if it had a different watermark at all. So anyways, I just wanted to put that out there. Now, so they're all the same design, right? A2. They're all the same denom, 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, 5. Same colors, green, lilac, greenish yellow. So really the only major differences will be the perfs here. So all that I should actually have to do is check either the top or the bottom perfs on all these stamps and verify that they are 11.5. Now let's say if the perfs were in such bad shape I couldn't tell with confidence, then I'll check the vertical perfs on the left and right side of the stamp and make sure that they're 12 and not 12.5. So basically all we really need to check here is the perfs. It being an A2 design, it is a different design than the A1. They're pretty close looking, but I mean, just look at these boxes on the sides and these characters. They're totally different. Look how small these characters are, and they're oval. Boxes, let's say oval. So yeah, this is really actually quite a simple one to determine that it's legitimate. Now, I did read all of this, and they tell you about the different sizes and you know, how they printed them with copper plates and all that stuff. It just tells you to check for surcharges if you have a surcharge. So there's no other weird variations. This is it. I'm actually amazed at how simple this early release is to determine. Considering it's an early China stamp, I'm just getting ready for who knows what, but this seems pretty easy. Alright, well, let me check the perfs on these. Okay, so here's my supposed number 13. Alright, and I've got my handy dandy perf gauge here. That's what we'll be saying, 11.5, top and bottom. Alright, let's see here, 11.5. Ooh. Okay. Trying to line it up as well as I can. I keep going side by side, and it moves some out of the holes, out of the gauge just slightly. It is quite close to being 11.5. I would probably buy into that just for fun. So let's check if it's the other possible variation, supposedly 12.5. Let's see if that's even close at all. No chance. Yeah. They totally fall off over here. So I don't know how well. Let me try to get that centered better for you guys. Let's try this again. It's worth taking the time. These were not cheap. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they totally don't line up. Okay, so I'm buying into that. So not perf 12.5. That's good. Let me grab my other one here. Probably a little premature to put these in the mounts already, but let's get this in here. Okay, so here's our 3 cent. Let's see, we're going to go for 11.5. Uh-oh. Hold on. Sorry. I have to like lean over and the camera's in my face. This is not looking good. Uh-oh. Okay, so what in the heck? Alright, let me check 12.5. Am I freaking dreaming here? Neither of them work. Okay, let me turn it upside down. Let's check the top. Now this is a US specialty gauge, but I have success using it on most stamps from most countries, so boy, this camera really is right in my it's right in my face. Okay, hold on a sec. I gotta take a really good look at this. Okay, so I'm a little torn here. See, I don't know how well you guys can tell, but the perfs here, like let's say I start at the bottom left and I get those perfectly centered. If I can manage, like that. About in the middle of the stamp, I start to get little crescents sticking out, and then kind of by this, near the end of the stamp here, they're kind of about halfway off of the perf holes, at least of the 11.5 on my gauge here. So that's a little bit off-putting. This is just the kind of stuff that I think is just normal to struggle with. I question, has, the stamp expanded or shrunk? Is my US specialty gauge here just, because like US perforations could be slightly different than Chinese perforations. I mean, my point is that, a 12 perf, like if you said perf 12, that isn't exactly precisely the same on every stamp ever issued from every country in the world. There can be variations, I know that. So anyways, I was checking the 12.5, and I mean that's not even close. Like, that's wacky way off. So 11.5 certainly seems closer. As much as I would love for it to just perfectly line up, I'm buying into this being definitely more likely an 11.5 than a 12.5. So this is where I kind of just end up having to make the judgment call that I do believe it is 11.5, and I'll just have to go with that. So I wish I could have like 100% confidence, but I can tell you it definitely, according to that gauge, is not 12.5. So I'm just going to go with that. So now let me check this final one. Let's see what's going on here. This is the yellow 5-cent. Okay. Let's get our gauge. And line these up. So the same kind of thing for me, you know, it's perfect. I start here and I line them up perfectly, and then right about here I can start to see a little bit of the perf hole, a little more of the perf hole, and they're about the same. It's a little bit off about this far into the stamp here. They're pretty close, but they're not perfect. So just for fun, let's check the vertical perfs here, which should be 12. Let's see. Okay, those line up pretty dang well. That's pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about those. By the time we get to the very edge here, I can start to see some of the crescent of a perf hole. So, but that's definitely close enough for me. So I'm buying into that. He is correct. Every time that I've put a 12.5, the perf gauge at 12.5 on these, they're not even close. It's pretty blatantly obvious that they're not 12.5. So yeah, that's kind of good enough for me. But you know, just for fun, and this isn't even necessary, I want to check the watermark on these, and it should be a yin-yang symbol. They should all have the same one. Well, let's get out our trusty lighter fluid here. Let's squirt these bad boys. Ooh, yeah. Oh, wow. Isn't that nice? Completely apparent. So that, you know, verifies what I was saying about how the listing works. They don't need to state again that it does have that watermark, because that didn't change. And yeah, so they all have the yin-yang watermark. This one has pretty nasty little hinge remaining there. But that'll do it for me. I'm pleased with these. I think that I spent, what did I spend? 125 bucks or something. At least that's what he had written on the card here. It said $360 cat. Excuse me. Yeah. You know, this guy is not the first person I've seen with this symbol, with the circle and the dot. I think that I saw that on some of that Sismondo stock for Roman States that I just got recently. And he had other symbols too, and I was like, I have no idea what those even mean. But I'm starting to wonder, maybe this one means that it's been canceled. Like maybe the circle with the dot means that it's been struck with a cancel. Somebody out there somewhere knows the answers to these questions of what these symbols stand for. And I don't yet. Still learning here. But that's my kind of guts talking there. I bet you that that's kind of what that means. I do believe all of these are used. And so that would make sense. You know, it could potentially mean that they're all watermarked as well, but I doubt it. I think that's what I'm thinking so far. So anyways, that's enough for me. I'm satisfied that they're the correct issues. You know, by the way, I just wanted to mention that, let me turn this down. I was watching some YouTube videos, and one of them was of this lady that had found a stamp album in her attic or something like that, and it had an old Benjamin Franklin stamp, and she thought, oh my god, it might be a Benjamin Franklin Z-Grill, of which I think there's only one or two known to exist. And so she took it to a pawn shop and had the guy call in an expert to determine if it was the real Z-Grill. And he was actually the exact guy that identified the original Z-Grill. One and the same. And so, of course, who better to tell you if it was a real example or not? And so I don't know how long they had to wait at the pawn shop, but he finally showed up, and he started checking the perfs, and he got out what looked like an actual Carson Lumi loop, which is one of these, if you don't know, which is like, I can't remember, I think 10 times magnification. This was all he brought with him to check if it was a Z-Grill Washington stamp, or Franklin, gosh darn it, and lighter fluid. So it was funny to me, the pawn shop owner was like, what in the heck? Are you seriously squirting lighter fluid on this stamp? And he's like, yep, without hesitation, absolutely. So that just goes to show, because I know people squabble somewhat, I guess. I never have. But some people squabble about watermark fluid versus lighter fluid for checking watermarks on your stamp. Well, let me tell you something. If a stamp expert who is capable of identifying legitimately a Z-Grill Franklin stamp is without hesitation happy to just squirt some water fluid on it, lighter fluid, I'm sorry, then I don't think any of you out there have to worry about using lighter fluid on your stamps. He had the exact same Roncinol lighter fluid, and so that's just crazy. I just thought it was funny to watch. I mean, heck, even if it was, a multi-million-dollar stamp, just go right ahead, squirt it with lighter fluid, Roncinol, have a good day, and not be afraid of it doing any kind of damage whatsoever. So just a heads up out there. I know some people like to use the torch function on their phone. That's fine. Some people squabble that lighter fluid leaves a slight residue on the stamps, like a white powdery residue. Like, how could it dry and not leave any kind of residue? Well, I guess whatever it does leave is so incredibly minuscule, it doesn't matter. And yeah, that was enough for me to kind of give me the confidence in my mind, kind of forevermore, whether or not using lighter fluid is good or bad. And I think that that's just fine. I mean, what better example that you don't have to worry about it could you find than that? And anyways, the short story with the results was negative. It was a no. He's like, nope, I'm sorry. It's not a Z-Grill. It's probably a $50 stamp, and so she was sad to hear that, but that's probably how it goes a large majority of the time. You think, oh boy, I might have something special here, and nope, you got yourself $50 stamp. Sorry, you're not getting $1 million for that. That's a shame, but yeah, that's how it goes. I thought it was a fun watch. I have seen it years ago, but I came across it again and was like, oh wow, just to see the guy use lighter fluid on what was supposedly a Z grill, like, yeah, that stuff is safe to use. So there we go, guys. Feels good. Now, I wasn't writing, certain things in this, but I decided, that's like, for these ones that I put in, I actually started putting what I paid for them. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just nice to have that there. I kind of like that. I'm putting, these are all mint hinged original gum, except for that one. Clearly has a nice good cancel on it. But yeah, all these ones here are mint hinged and have original gum, so I'm going to put that on there. I've stuck with that, like I was saying when I started in that video where I started this album, that if they're used, I'm not going to write that they're used. You can just look at them and tell. Okay, so I'm going to put a little note here that I paid $125 for numbers 13 through 15. Cool. Yeah, I decided to start putting that in here, what I paid for things. That way, you know, I know. It's just a lot easier when I'm putting them in if I simply put that information than to go back later and put all that in later, which I wasn't doing that before. I had decided I didn't really care about putting the price, but there's a part of me that has changed opinions about that, and I've decided to begin doing that because why not? I'm still missing an awful lot of these early stamps, but I need to, since I've decided to start writing the info. Actually, I think I already had that, so I don't even know what I paid for that. That I just found in a collection. I remember it because it's number 111, 111. Pretty easy to remember. But yeah, like all of these junk stamps or something, I might go hop back on Hipstamp or eBay and see where I bought them, if I bought them from there, and write what I paid for them. Not the catalog value, just what I paid, you know? So, yeah. I decided that I'll start doing that. But this is, oh boy, so many that I'm missing at the beginning of this. But yeah, I have been doing work on it, and you know, as you go in, you start to see more as we get to the more recent issues. So yeah, let's see. A lot of these I did already have. A lot of these came out of my folder. Some of them I go to put in there, and then I realize later that that was actually the wrong spot for them, that I'd misidentified them, so I take them back out. Anywho, I guess I could share this. I just got these the other day, a little set of postage dues here. So yeah, this is a nice little set. See, here I wrote I paid $72 for this whole set of 7 through 14. They're all in very fine condition. They're all used. And yeah, oh boy, I tell you, I can't wait until I have this album, you know, semi-complete, and it's at the point where it's pretty enough to just roll through and really just look at them and enjoy them. I just have so much work yet to go, but like I've been saying, money's tight. And man, I just can't do it anymore. Now, I am still waiting for. See, I've only received the number 1 from this APS store, and I'm still waiting for them to expertise 2 and 3 for me. I feel like it's been a couple of months. I feel like they had better show up pretty soon here at some point. I don't know how much longer I want to wait. I know it does take up to 90 days is what it said, so they're taking their sweet time here. But yeah, I paid for these to be expertized by the Apex store. Hopefully, like I said before in another video, that I don't run into the same thing where they just have no opinion about it. That would suck. I want them to tell me their actual freaking opinion. Have an opinion, guys. Have the confidence, please. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, that was just a little video that I wanted to make here. That should be the last kind of delivery that I get, except for those other two, kind of period, for a good while, unless I spend more money. Finally, everything's come in that I have ordered, and so back to the Japanese album. What the heck, you know? That'll keep me busy. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you. Bye-bye.